Hey YouTube. Hey ladies. It's a sphincter. Now I've always wanted to play jazz, but one small obstacle is that I can't play piano to save my life. So us technical types, when confronted with a problem like this, our instinct is to find a way around it. And I've done just that. I'm going to share with you sort of the holy grail of FL Studio's sequencing abilities, if you will. At least I'm pretty happy with this find. It is a hack, and it's something that probably the pianists and keyboardists of the world are going to hate me for producing, because they spend years trying to find trying to perfect their playing style, and then here comes Joe Fruity Loops, and he just draws in some notes, and he can make them as complicated and as intricate and unplayable as he wants to, and it doesn't matter as long as it sounds like music, So this is my setup here. I've got 4 chords, 1 lead-in note. I'm not even sure what these chords are. I think it's a suspended 4th, this is a 6th, some kind of inverted minor, and whatever this is. Now you should have your song also laid out in chords. This won't work very well with scales. Chords are going to just give you a more pleasant interval. So this is pattern 11 that I'm working in. I'm going to clone it. That makes a copy. I'm going to erase any lead-in notes that I've got. And just like we did with the music theory cheat sheet, what I'm going to do is copy the entire pattern. Notice this is chords now this time, but everything's fundamentally the same. I'm going to start by copying it 2 octaves below, and also 2 octaves above. It should sound the same but louder. Yeah. And it does. So I'm going to cut all the velocities down to 0 so they don't interfere with our playing. And we should be able to hear, right now, I'll set it up for this. So we'll hear my original chords, and we'll hear this empty pattern playing. Now what I'm going to do is illustrate the way this is going to work for us here. Because since we copied directly from the chords, all of these notes are already in harmony. And I can pretty much be careless with my chopping here. I'm going to just create some sort of extra chords here just to add some rhythm, some variety here, and I'm not even really gonna pay attention to what notes I'm cutting. I'm just gonna cut. Oh, that one's off tempo. Stupid. That should do it. Don't forget to set your velocities. So, as you can see, quite easily we can just hammer out some instantaneous variety. Just give it some changes really easily. Because everything, like I said, everything is already in harmony, we can be very careless. And so what we're doing here is sort of setting ourselves up for those, those amazing musical accidents, because they do happen. And obviously, the more prepared your pattern is, the more likely they're going to happen to you. So let's look at this one instead. Here we are at pattern 14, and we got our template already set up. The velocities are all 0. What I'm going to do is, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the slicer tool, the razor blade, allows you to cut vertically, and it allows you to cut horizontally. Is that good for anything? No. But watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut exactly, I guess this is 6 steps. I'm going to cut exactly 6 steps over, and I'm going to cut diagonally by about 5 notes. and I'm going to repeat that. And when I repeat this, what I'm looking at is I'm going to try to keep my angle. I'm not even going to count the notes really. I'm just going to look at the angle that I'm cutting at, and I'm going to try to keep it almost exactly consistent with my last cut. And I'm always going to cut it by the same length, which is three bars or 6 steps. And also look at what I'm doing here. I'm not cutting the same note twice. Don't do that. So when I cut, notice the bottom note is only cut once, and then I skip it, and I just go on to the next one. Now I know what you're thinking. It's like, it can't possibly be this easy. No way. No way. And you're right, it's not quite that easy. For example, we have to come in here and set velocities. That's not easy. That's another step. So let's do that. And keep in mind that the first note of each bar is going to be our mega chords here. We don't want to play those. They're going to dominate our music. So we have to be very careful not to select those huge chords, which are the very first instance that we have right on the bar. So what does this sound like? You're thinking, how could this possibly sound as good as a real piano player would play? Well, maybe it doesn't, but let's listen to it. Not too shabby, huh? Now I know some of you are going to want to rush right off, going to close down this tutorial and jump straight into Fruity Loops to give this a try. And as long as you follow the advice and as long as you've got a decent chord progression laid out, it's really not that difficult. You'll have to play around a bit with different angles. Obviously the angles are going to affect the sort of speed at which your player moves across each of the keys, but within that restriction you do have quite a lot of freedom here. Again, my suggestion is that when you're producing these rolls, try to keep your angles consistent. That will just make it sound much more musical, and you'll get better results that way. You can go up, down, however you want to progress. It's all pretty much the same to Fruity Loops. So what did that sound like? So, with a couple of changes to your shapes, the orders that you cut, and the angle, you can end up with some pretty intricate patterns that nobody would believe that. Nobody's going to believe that these were all penciled in manually into a sequencer. Nobody believe it. One final thing: if you apply what we learned from the humanization tutorial, you give it a bit of randomness. A little bit of jitter to the velocities, and perhaps also to your quantization. You can use whatever you'd like and whatever intervals that you like. That'll kind of help to round it out, because these will not be your cuts. Might be based on quantization, but wherever they land on the notes, it's going to cut it, and that's not going to be quantized. And lastly, if when you're finished you want to kind of clean up your work, do a quick legato. Control L will automatically cut all your notes to the desired lengths. So have some fun. As I said, it works with any chord pattern. So, alright, now you can close it down and rush straight into Fruity Loops and give it a try. I know you want to. Let's hear what you come up with. This has been A. Spinkter's music theory cheating tutorial. I hope it's been helpful, and thanks for watching. Today is also my birthday. I'm 27.